So, gender roles and gender norms. Typical liberal conversation, feminist conversation, I guess. With a kitty. With a pretty kitty. Pretty kitty. Yeah. Anyway. Obviously, as a feminist and a liberal, I think gender roles and gender norms are fucking stupid and unnecessary. But honestly, everyone should think this shit, because gender roles is basically, and gender norms basically, are the belief that, boys must like boy things, girls must like girl things. Girls must play with Barbie dolls, meet really pretty princesses that need their prince to come and save them. And that they're all super emotional, oh, and PMS. And then, of course, boys, tough asses who never can cry. Big, burly hero man, play with men toys, drink beer, Obviously, these gender roles and shit, or gender norms, I guess, with this part, is fucking stupid. Especially when you're dealing with children. I mean, come on, I don't know a single child that only likes boy toys, or only likes girl toys. It also depends on what do you consider boy toys. Are Legos boy toys? What about little dinosaurs? Because as far as I know, everyone played with fucking dinosaurs when they were little. But kids, ultimately, unless you force them to care, they don't care. And that's the way people in general should be. Who gives a fuck if what so-and-so is doing is outside of the gender norms? Who gives a shit if it's a girl wearing pants? Who gives a shit if there's a guy wearing a skirt? Who cares? Let them wear what they want to wear. Do what they want to do. Gender norms are fucking stupid. And they don't do anything to benefit society or people at all. In fact, they actually just do nothing but harm. Because, of course, expecting people to act a certain way based on their assigned sex is not going to help them, especially if that's not the way they don't want to act. Like, if you hate wearing skirts, but since you're a woman, you're forced to wear a skirt all the time, you're not going to be fucking happy about it. You're going to be pissed off, and you're going to grow to despise skirts even more, and you'll just start flipping off every skirt you own, and you'll be pissed off. Or you'll become a depressive, and that can go down an even worse road. And of course, the notion that guys are not emotional at all and can never cry. Obviously, that's harmful to men. Everyone has emotions. Everyone gets sad. Everyone cries. Men included. And men should not be ashamed of crying or made to feel bad because they have an emotion. Like, getting pissed off at someone because they're crying is fucking stupid. Everyone cries. Like, sure, I get being annoyed if someone's, like, crying on the bus and they're, like, crying into your shirt. Fine. Be annoyed. Because they're crying on your shirt. But don't get mad at someone just because they're crying and they're a guy. It just goes into the same notion that of the whole men can't be raped thing, which is complete fucking bullshit, and anyone who thinks men can't be raped is a fucking moron. But that's a little bit of a different thing. But the biggest thing you see gender norms with, of course, clothing, kids' toys, the color pink and blue, which used to be the reverse, because it used to be the blue was for, girls, because blue was soft and gentle, and pink was harsh and strong. Now it's the reverse. And then, of course, jobs is another one, and, of course, marriage. And sex, too, like, fucking kind of sex, not your biological sex. Because, of course, guys, woohoo, you had sex, good on you, girl, you're a slut. Then, of course, girls are expected to get married, guys, Girls are expected to have kids, guys, It's kind of fucking stupid. Like, ultimately, gender roles and norms and stuff, they do have a negative effect on women more than they do on men. But not a lot of people talk about the negative effects they have on men, which is kind of dumb. I mean, you need to talk about both. Kitty. She's over there. But, so, both of them are negative, but with gender roles specifically, this one more affects, like, what kind of jobs you're supposed to have. Women are supposed to be the caretakers. They're supposed to be the ones that stay at home and look after the baby. Men are supposed to be the breadwinners, bring home all the money. They're supposed to have these big, rough and tough jobs, and only women can be nurses, only men can be surgeons. Shit like that. Obviously, in the realm of jobs, this basically limits the jobs people are supposed to have, which doesn't benefit anyone. Honestly, we should want more surgeons, doctors, no matter what. And it doesn't help anything shaming someone just because they're a woman for wanting to be a surgeon instead of a nurse. Or shaming a guy because he wants to be a nurse instead of a surgeon. We need all of both. We need more of them, not less. But for the most part, people are pretty good with jobs nowadays. Most people are accepting of just about anyone in just about any job. There are some fields that are a little bit more sexist, I guess, than others. Like, there's still a big stigma against male nurses. There's still a fair amount of stigma against female tattoo artists. So in those kind of realms, it's kind of like a little bit of sexism still, but we're getting better there. But in, like, the gender roles in the home, like, women are supposed to look after the house, the fucking wife. You've got to be the good housewife and have all the babies. That annoys the ever-loving fuck out of me. I mean, it probably annoys the ever-loving fuck out of me for, one, I hate housework, and really house chores. I mean, I'd rather do inside housework than outside housework, because outside it's hot and sunny, and I hate that. But I hate housework in general, especially being forced to do it when I don't think it should be done. You do not need to vacuum your house every single fucking day, people. It's unnecessary. Unless you have kids vomiting everywhere. In which case, get your kids checked. That's nasty. And secondly, I hate cooking. So I guess there's 3 reasons why I really dislike the whole, you must be a good doting housewife, look after the babies thing. Because I also don't like cooking. I don't like cooking for other people. I don't mind cooking for myself, but cooking for other people, fuck that shit. If you want food, get it your damn self. I ain't making you no fucking sandwich. And babies, well, I don't want kids, honestly. I mean, I could possibly adopt a kid that's over the age of 7, but I don't want no fucking babies. I hate babies. They're annoying and creepy and ugly. I don't want to be no doubting fucking housewife. I'd much rather work and whatnot than be stuck at home with a fucking screaming brat child that looks like a fucking demon freak thing. Because that's what babies look like. They look disgusting. Than anything. But in the same breath, like, a lot of the jobs that are stereotypical man jobs, construction working and everything else, construction workers, mine workers, those jobs that are stereotypically for men, the male role, they're dangerous as fuck. Most jobs that are deemed the good jobs for men to have, a lot of them are super fucking dangerous. Which is kind of like, no, fix your goddamn safety regulations on that, first off. And second off, just because a job's dangerous doesn't mean a woman can't do it, and just because a job's dangerous doesn't mean a man should do it. Like, you don't get brownie points for working a tougher job, honestly, or forcing yourself to work a tougher job because society has dictated that as a man, you are better by doing a harder job, because, man, manly man. And it's the same notion with beer. I swear, the only reason anyone likes beer is because they've been given a shit ton of beer and told that beer is good like beer, you must like beer. Especially men. Like, honestly, I don't know anyone who genuinely liked the taste of beer from the get-go. Beer tastes like shit. And, of course, you have the whole, men don't order girly drinks. I'm not gonna drink something that comes out of a little martini glass. Or a cocktail cup. Which is just kind of stupid. Like, oh, just because you think a cup's fucking feminine, you're not gonna order that drink? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I heard this one story of a guy asking to get his cocktail served to him in a beer mug because he didn't want a prissy girly cup. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Is your masculinity that fucking fragile that you can't drink from a weird-shaped cup? Like, that's fucking stupid. But, with gender roles and norms specifically, yeah, they're a social construct. Anyone who tells you that they're based on biology is, for the most part, stupid. I mean, there are the little tiny aspects that maybe could be based on psychology and whatnot, and biology, but for the most part, it's not. Because if you go to different societies, the role of the man and the woman as dictated by the society is completely fucking different. Completely. So they are made by society, and that's part of the reason why it's a lot different today. Like, way back when, there wouldn't be women in the workforce. If you asked a woman if she wanted to work, she'd go, oh, hell no, I'm a proper woman, I must be in the house. Whereas nowadays, it's like, yeah, of course I work. Why wouldn't I? Gender roles and norms, they have changed. Hopefully they continue to change, because, honestly, they still suck. And I would personally just like gender roles and norms to be done away with completely, because they're fucking useless. And all they do is make life more difficult for everyone involved. Men, women, people in between, people who are both everything. It just makes everyone's life a little bit harder. Just at least a little. To extremely harder. Depending on just how much it's affecting you. And with parents raising their kids, when it comes to gender roles and gender norms, throw them out the fucking window. Let your kid wear what they want to do. Let your kid play with what they want to play with. Ignore gender roles and gender norms. Don't push them on your fucking kids. Like, it's just fucking stupid. But a lot of people obviously hate gender roles and gender norms with good reason, and I do not understand why a lot of the conservative side seems to view gender roles and gender norms as this great, amazing thing that people should adhere to, and that somehow adhering to this tradition will make society better somehow, which just doesn't make any fucking sense. Because if you look in society itself, way back when, it was not better, it was worse. For everyone, pretty much. The only thing that's worse about society today than back then is the obesity problem. That's worse now, is the obesity issue. But everything else was worse back then. So no, going back to our old traditional ways and bringing them back, that's not going to help anybody. You're just going to make things worse. Because that's all gender roles, gender norms, and all that tradition crap that you see conservatives spouting. About how the women all need to stay at home and they must be little dainty princesses like they used to be, and, massage their men's feet when they got home and serve dinner right away and shit. No. And I know one area where conservatives do talk about is, oh, look at the divorce rate now. There you go. Women working is destroying marriages. Which doesn't actually ring true at all. Because the thing is back then, divorce was seen as this horrible, evil thing that you should never, ever do. Now divorce is kind of considered whatever and normal. So back then, you couldn't get divorced for the most part. So people weren't staying together because they were in love, or because they were happy. They were staying together because they had no fucking choice. I guarantee you, back then, there would have been more divorces than there are now, if divorce had not been shamed the way that it was. Guarantee it. So, going back to the old ways, not a good idea. Gender roles and gender norms and shit, they need to be done away with. Gender itself is a little bit different, obviously, because I'm only speaking about the roles and norms here. Because gender itself is a much broader topic, and you can't do away with gender itself. That would be impossible. But gender roles and gender norms definitely do need to be done away with, either entirely or for the most part, or at the very least made completely optional with no shame attached to doing them or not doing them. Or I guess abiding or not abiding to them. Yeah, fuck gender roles and gender norms and shit, and there's no reason to support them. They're stupid. And they're not supported by biology.